What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the longest awaited return to Cedar Flags of all time. Yes, we are back. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is safe in these crazy times. Yes, I have been safe in these crazy times. Just to answer some of those questions right out of the gate, we have so much to talk about, and luckily we have a very long episode and a very long time lapse to go through all this, so I hope I can touch on everything. If you guys have any remaining questions at the end of this, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. But yes, what are we doing first of all in this video? As you probably saw already, we are building a live stage area for stage performances in our park. So this is one thing that I always really wanted to do. I think I had a few suggestions here and there to do this exact thing as well. So we're finally getting to this, and it's a really interesting area of the park. We'll talk a little bit about that when we go over to the live portion and really fly around and see what this area is all about. But I really wanted something for the guests to be able to go ahead and sit down, enjoy a little bit of a show. Maybe, I don't really know how long these shows go for typically in a real park, but these are around in parks, so this isn't like a new thing or anything, but it's just a really interesting family activity that we can throw into the park. Now, I will preface this with the fact that we don't really set up a show or anything. We don't put any animatronics out here. We don't put any of the lighting or the fireworks or anything like that in here. This is strictly a build of a stage with a set that could feasibly be used for some sort of show. So I really didn't want to go through and do the animatronic thing. I've never really been a fan of the animatronics in this game, and that is probably evident throughout the series because I don't really use them. So yeah, we're back and we're doing some stuff, and I guess I'll talk a little bit about why I was gone for so long. I think it was about 9 months, judging by the comments that I kept getting on the videos. If you remember back, right before the hiatus, I had taken a new job and some life type stuff kind of got in the way, and that's really what spurred on the break. And then I just kind of lost the inspiration to play this game in particular, and then really to make videos, because I could have always done other videos. The drive wasn't there anymore, and it's finally coming back, so thus the return here. And I will say that the drive to play this game has come back as well, which is really good, obviously for you guys and for me as a content creator. So part of that actually has to do with the fact that I've upgraded some things. So, well, first of all, most noticeably, if I sound any different, I got a brand new microphone, and I also got a new computer upgrade. So if I sound different, it's probably more or less the settings that I used to have, and my whole process of recording the voiceover stuff is kind of changed now, so it may not sound exactly the same. Hopefully it sounds better and not worse, but you guys can let me know about that. The new computer build is awesome. It wasn't really a new computer build, it was an upgrade. So I upgraded my CPU from an AMD 8350, which was, I think, 5 to 6 years old at this point, I think. We're now on a Ryzen 9 3900X. 12 cores of processing power. This PC now is really awesome. The first time I booted this game back up after upgrading, it was amazing because I was getting a full 30 FPS, whereas I used to get maybe 10. So obviously my CPU was a bottleneck for a very long time, and we've since, fixed that, so I'm very happy about that. I also had to upgrade my motherboard. I had to upgrade my RAM because that was all running the old set of RAM. It's DDR3, and now we're on DDR4, which is awesome. I don't want to get into the technical side too much, although I'm assuming most of you guys, if you're gamers, kind of know some of that kind of stuff. But yeah, we don't really have an upgraded graphics card. That's something that I really didn't need. Although when the new generation comes out, it's going to be very tempting. And ray tracing is very tempting as well. And I've seen a couple videos of like ray tracing in Planet Coaster. Oof. It makes the game look so good. So that's something that we'll look at in the future, probably at some point. But, you know, graphics cards are not the cheapest upgrades to make. So we'll see. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I needed to talk about for the upgrades. Bottom line is, you'll see that we are going to be able to build this park a lot more than I thought we were going to, in a sense. And at some point, I actually had shut the park down altogether, and like in an attempt to try to save some frame rate, I kicked all the guests out, and I think I still have them kicked out for now as I've been building. That's another thing I should talk about. There's so much to talk about. Even though I haven't been putting up content, I have about 10 episodes of content recorded now. So I have the footage, the time-lapse builds from about 10 plus episodes here. And so there is a backlog of content, and that's something that we've been doing a lot over on Twitch. So my Twitch channel, I actually have somewhat of a set schedule over there now. So I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays at night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, around then, sometimes earlier, sometimes later, generally. And then sometimes on the weekends, although those have been a little iffy here and there. But yeah, we've been streaming a lot of Planet Coaster over there, which has really kept me into this game and kept me kind of committed to finishing this park, which is something I won't even lie. For a second there, I was like, do I ever really even want to finish this park? Yes, the answer is yes. We are going to finish Cedar Flags. We already have a lot done. I mean, we're working now over on the live streams on wrapping up some of the few major projects that we had left. So if you guys want to check that out, like I said, every Tuesdays and Thursdays, we are live over there. The chat over there is awesome. You guys, if you've been, have been amazing. A lot of great insight. I love the community that we've built. I've always loved the community I have, even over here on YouTube. You guys have been awesome. For the most part, it hasn't been like toxic or anything, and I just really appreciate that. And for some reason, this game pulls out people who know like way too much about stuff, which is always funny to me. But like anytime I have a question about like, should I do this or this? And someone is generally in the chat and they're like, you know, this is how it would really be. And I was like, well, you know, that's how it should be then. So major input that you guys get on the live streams is awesome, and it definitely helps me out, and it keeps me driving to like do more and more. So yeah, go check that out. The link to that channel is, as always, is in the description below. And yeah, so what do we have planned in the park? Well, I'm not going to give too much away, but let's just say we have a couple coasters coming. One is not a big one. The other one is a majorly big one. So a little tease for you there. If you stop by a live stream, of course, you'll be able to see that as well. But I am so excited to finally be able to share those builds with you guys. They're probably the most, like, my proudest work in this game so far. I feel like every time I build a coaster in this game, it's like, oh, this one's the best one yet. I'm never going to be able to top it. And then like the next coaster I build, I'm like, this is the best one. And I think it's to a point where I don't know if I'm going to ever, you know, think one of my older coasters is the best one that I've ever made, because the newest one always is. But it's you know, it's fun. It's something to keep driving. And I think part of that is like learning the game and learning how to make the layouts okay, you know, in terms of like a realistic layout, or in terms of like even just manipulating the tools in the game to give you what you want. And I think I've picked that up over the years now. And oh, actually, I should mention, I talked a little bit about the backlog of videos that I have there. Okay, so what happened originally, I guess I'll get into this a little bit. When I started like the break, for a while I just kind of shut everything down. You know, I wasn't doing anything on this game, on Twitch, on anything. So we had lost the footage to the build of what is behind what you're currently seeing there. So that boat station over there, I don't have the footage for that because the VOD on Twitch gets deleted after a set amount of time. So that whole build is gone. We'll go back and we'll look at that in the live portion of this video, and I'll kind of just briefly go through what happened there. But you guys, you missed a building build. But as far as the ride goes, it wasn't anything too crazy. We did adjust some of the lake and all of this around here, so we did a little bit of terrain work down there. But I mean, for the most part, it wasn't like a major build, so while it is disappointing, it's not like a major loss. But that is one thing I wanted to mention. That ride over there is just a simple boat ride that kind of goes around this lake that we have back here, which I thought I always wanted that because I felt like it was just it's gonna make that lake more of like an asset for the park rather than just like something that was there and we had to kind of build around it. So I think most amusement parks will try to incorporate as much of those like natural assets into like the park experience. So that's one thing that I really wanted to do. Now, some of those rides will generally have like a storyline or something, or some of the boat captains as they go through will like talk about everything on the shores, and sometimes they'll have like little animatronics or whatever throughout the journey. But ours does not. Ours is simply a ride around the lake, and I'm sure our boat captains would talk about, because there are some views of some things. So obviously the first thing you're going to see is this now stage that we're building, and then a lot of the coasters you'll be able to see from just a different perspective. So it's more or less just a relaxing ride around the park, one of those gentle family-oriented type experiences that we have been working into the park, but not as much as maybe we should be. So there is that. I guess we should talk a little bit about what we've been doing this entire time as I've been rambling on. We're building this stage back here, and this is something I talked a little bit about already, but this is something that I think would be more of a permanent show just based on the stage that we're setting up here. So sometimes with like stage shows, you'll have like just different shows that get cycled through them. The stage that we have here really originated with me finding that giant pirate ship in the menus, and I just kind of was like, this would be awesome for like a stage. And then it kind of just worked out over here because the area is a little bit awkward, just being between that boat ride and then that restaurant that we built so long ago. This was a little bit of an awkward space, and I really wasn't sure what we wanted to do over here. But once I saw that pirate ship, I was like, you know what? It'd be perfect for right here. So it's interesting because on the one side, you have a stage where the show is, and then on the other side, the backside, the lakeside, if you will, you're kind of seeing the backstage literally of this whole build. But at the same time, at a glance, it just looks like a pirate ship is being like constructed almost here. So it's kind of interesting. It works in a couple dynamics, I guess. But this stage, as we've built this up, I've kind of thought like, you know what, if we ever really wanted like a new show back here to be put in, this stage is pretty custom built for this pirate ship. So it would take some doing for the set designers, I guess, in our world to then come up with something new to put in here, and it'd be a major construction task. But you know, that's something that if you go ahead and download the park files, maybe you would think you'd want a different kind of stage setup. Yeah, you could do that yourself. That's actually one other thing. The park files for this game, I've always tried to upload those. I've been really lazy about that, so forgive me for that. I do need to go through and update all of my save files. That's on my to-do list. I have all of the save files still. Every time I record a new like episode worth of content, I create a new separate save file. So I have them all. They're all labeled properly, but it's just a matter of me going through and uploading them, and that is just a tedious process, really. This game and just working with Steam in general for uploading stuff like that is super annoying. I remember back when I played City Skylines, anytime you had like an asset list of like mods and assets, just to like keep everything organized and then go in there and like upload it to the Steam Workshop is super annoying. So that's just one thing I need to kind of just take a day or two and just do that. which will be interesting. But I just, every time I boot the game up, I'm like, I kind of want to just build something. So we jump in and build instead of just doing like the paperwork almost. But if you can notice as we were building the stage here, there's kind of not really a purpose for a lot of stuff on like the first glance. But as I was building that, I was kind of thinking like here and there, like the actors would have to go here, the actors would have to go there. So that's why I kind of set up all these ramps and all these doors here and there. And we'll again look at this more in the live feed of the video, or the live portion of the video. But there are doors and there's a whole backstage area where people would have to be able to walk around. And my whole like theory behind this show would be like, for some reason, I don't know, it might be a musical or something. I don't really know what kind of show it is. All I know are pirates are involved. So I wanted to create like a whole sense of people being able to like maneuver and actors being able to maneuver to do their job back there. So that's something we'll check out. But what we're working on right now is the grandstand section. And luckily, we already had some grandstands built in the park. So this is one thing that I think I've gotten better at over time, over playing this game as we've built this series up. And that is taking what we already have in the park and just reusing it. So we had these grandstands over at Cedar Speedway. We're gonna retrofit them for this particular application. And in theory, people would be able to come and sit and watch the show here. So this was gonna be one of those builds that I kind of got into it and I was like, man, this is gonna suck, right? This is gonna be a very, very annoying build. Just because I knew I wanted these grandstands to kind of curve a little bit, because most of them do, right? So people can see, or the audience can see the show from different angles, and it kind of keeps everything centered, focal point of like the middle of the stage, right? So that's something I wanted to do, but I knew it was just going to be a very tedious task, because anytime you're clipping like straight pieces into each other, it gets a little annoying. But it really wasn't that bad. As you can kind of see, we're kind of doing that right now. And honestly, I was very, very surprised at how easy that went together. And I didn't want to jinx it, but it was very simple. Of course, we're using some science here to kind of line things up, try to make it as symmetric as possible, and it ends up working pretty well. But yeah, this was one of those things that I was like, oh man, this is gonna take forever. And then I live streamed this, and I'm sure I was telling the chat that it was gonna take forever. I tend to doubt myself a lot during live streams. If you ever show up for one, you'll know if there's a giant project in front of us, we'll have just early moments of the stream where I'm like, oh man, this is never gonna work. This is not gonna be a thing. And then like somewhere in the middle, it starts to click. And then somewhere at the end, it's like the best thing ever, right? So if you've been to the live streams, you know exactly how that goes. It's kind of like a running joke with the live chat over there as well. But this is one of those things that I thought was going to be a major task, and it turned out to be fairly simple. So that was really nice. The roof section was something that I didn't really want to, screw around with too much. So we kind of cheaped out a little bit, if you want to even call it that, and we're just putting a flat, straight roof over the entire thing. Having like the roof curve with the grandstands, that was going to be a challenge just because of the roof structure. And I wanted to keep it a little bit lighter in terms of prop count and just like what was all up there. So we kind of just, had to settle almost for just this nice straight flat roof. But at the same time, it works out. It works pretty well for what it is. And the chat engineers assured me, the guys in my chat assured me that the engineering was sound and it isn't going to collapse. So yeah, if it does, blame them. I always like that in my live chats. We always get like people who are like, that would never work. Just I'm an engineer by trade or whatever. And I'm like, well, if the engineers say it's not going to work, we're going to have to do something about it. So we end up having to like fix things based on like a real world perspective. And that's something I really enjoy too, because that has always been like the goal of this series is to make something that is fairly realistic, even though it may not be like to the letter realistic, especially some of the roller coaster builds. I know I've made some errors in terms of like, oh, this company wouldn't actually have this kind of transfer track or whatever. So it is always a goal of mine to do something that is fairly real world accurate. So I think a lot of you guys appreciate that, and I think that's kind of the strength of some of the for this series at least. So yeah, I mean, we're just kind of finishing this up now. This turned out really well. This turned out, like I said, I thought it was going to be a major undertaking, but in the end here, it turns out fairly well, and just from a glance, it's going to be really cool too. This is one thing, like, this is weird because there's really no purpose for it, right? In a sense, like, you think about it, people aren't going to come down here and sit in these grandstands. So the guests in the game don't really have a point to come over here, but we're trying to build something that from afar or from above has some sort of eye appeal, you know? I mean, it's going to look realistic, and I don't think we're going to have people come down here, to be honest. Also, did I mention already that I disabled the guests from the park? I don't know if I did, but there are no guests in the park currently as I'm playing this game, so it'd be really interesting to me to at least see if people would walk down through here. I don't think they would. I don't think there's a point to it. We could always try to set up some sort of one of those interest points down here and see if people would walk down here. But this is more of just like something pretty to look at and just to fill space over here. And again, it's in the same vein as just trying to keep everything like realistic from a park's perspective. This is something that real parks have. This is something that we wanted to do for this. So the rest of this time lapse, I believe, is going to be just some landscape work around this area. We have quite a bit to do still, but we're gonna end up doing some of that, and then we'll jump over into the live portion of this. So I guess we'll talk a little bit about the future plans of the park and the future of the series, I guess, as well here. I don't think I can commit to a schedule for videos, right? This is something that I've never really been able to commit to. And I know there's people out there who have always wanted me to do videos. I see people say, I wish you could do a video every day. Trust me, I wish I could do a video every day too. I can't, you know, this series takes so long. And if you guys stop by some of the live streams, you'll see how long this building actually takes. Like, I'm pretty sure something like this would have taken 6 to 8 hours of build time. So even on top of that, that's like a full day's work and like a real job, right? And then I'd have to go in and edit this stuff and then do all of the voiceover work for that. Yes, I could get some sort of editor, but I mean, it's not like I'm making a ton of money here on YouTube, so that's out of the question. I can't commit to a schedule for videos. I am committing to the live stream schedule, which means we're going to have stuff to be able to put up on YouTube. But I'm gonna have to work my schedule for my personal life schedule like out to try to make something happen. So I'm gonna maybe try to lean toward release days of, you know what? I don't even want to commit to anything. You know, I don't want to promise something that I can't fulfill. So just know that there is, like I said earlier, 10 plus episodes of footage that I have now, and the videos are gonna be coming back. I can't do, like, I can maybe try to shoot for once a week, but I don't even know if I can promise that. So just a heads up, I just want you guys to kind of know what the expectations that I have are for this moving forward here. The expectation that I have for sure is to finish this park. So this is one thing, and then after that, who knows what happens? Who knows what games will be out? Who knows what we can do next? We'll do something. We'll figure something out, and just continue to do what we're doing. So I really love the fact that I can live stream this, include a bunch of you guys in the whole building of the series, and then present it over here in a different format. That's one thing that I've always liked. And the reason, I think I've talked about this in the past, the reason I use Twitch for live streaming and then this instead of YouTube, I guess, is that YouTube still, I think still, I'll have to double check this because it's been a little while since I looked into live stream on YouTube. The live streaming on YouTube doesn't let you download your video in full 1080p. And that was always weird to me. I don't know why they did that or why they do that. But that's the reason why I stream over on Twitch, because I can get the download for full resolution and then edit those into these videos. So I like keeping my videos at 1080p on YouTube. I could always download them from the YouTube live stream into 720p, but I feel like, why would we do that when we can do just that little thing a little bit better? So that is one of the reasons. Although I will say, somewhere toward the end, as we're wrapping up this series, I really want to do a live stream over here on YouTube, and that's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be interesting. I want to see how many of you guys pop in for that. Basically, what we need to do is lighting. Like, the entire park needs to be lit up because we've neglected that the entire series for 2.5, 3, how many years has it even been of this series? We've very, very rarely done any lighting. So that's something that I want to hop into a live stream over here, hang out with you guys, see what's going on, be able to talk with you guys over here, because I know not everybody uses Twitch, not everyone likes that platform. That's fine, it's not for everybody, I understand. But the live streams over here could be really interesting because you guys can kind of see what's going on. So that is a project that we'll do probably at the end of the whole series when we wrap everything up. So yeah, oh man, we're getting toward the end of this time lapse, and I remember this. This is actually really weird for me. It's been a very long time since I even built like all of this. Since I was doing this build, it's been probably a few months. So me watching myself play the game back months later and remembering stuff all the way through is interesting. That little sloped path over there was something that took an entirely too long period of time to do. So I was fighting the pathing system the entire way. Oh, it was the worst, but we finally got that done, and we're just kind of filling this in. Like I said, the rest of this time lapse is pretty much just doing some landscape work, which is something that I think I've become, I don't want to say famous because I'm not famous, but I've become known for, is the landscaping, placing rocks. We have a rocks command over on Twitch that people like to spam, and all of our emotes over there are rock and tree based for the most part too. So we have some really awesome emotes over there as well, which is, I'm very proud of how that is all going over there as well. I don't want to talk too much about live streaming because I know not everybody's into that. I know a lot of you guys are just here for the edited content, which is fine. I was like that for a long time as well. I don't this is gonna sound weird, and I've said it to my live stream as well, but I really don't enjoy watching Planet Coaster live streams. I just don't think it's entertaining, and I know that goes against my whole content structure, but I much rather see Planet Coaster type stuff in a time lapse because you get a lot more going on instead of sitting there watching me place rocks for entirely too long. But we're just kind of wrapping this up now. I can stop rambling here because we're just about done with this. The only thing left to do is to put some, I think, signs up here, and then go ahead and finish up some of these tiny areas. As we've been building, I've been doing a little bit less and less like intricate rock and landscape work. A lot of the stuff that I've been trying to remember to do is just like taking and copying and pasting a lot of this stuff over. So some of this like weird areas where there's like a hill or something, we gotta do this custom, we can't just copy and paste too much. But for the most part, some of these structures here and there, we're trying to use the same stuff and kind of incorporate everything together. So you'll see here and there, we'll kind of copy and paste a lot of the landscaping that we've already done and just kind of tweak what we already have, just to kind of keep things consistent on one hand, and then on the other hand, it's less work for me to do, so it's great. But yes, we are getting toward the end of the time lapse. Finally, I know I've teased it a couple times now, but the last thing we really need to do over here is put some signs up there. And oh man, do I have a beef with the signage in this game? I really do. I worked as a sign man for 5+ years, and the signage in this game is just it's really shameful, to be honest. I mean, we didn't even have like letter sets for the most part. I had to download these letter sets from the workshop, and I don't even want to get into it too much, but the bottom line is we didn't even have a little arrow that I could put on those signs to show people where to go. So I had to create one with the letter A and the letter I, which was a really good solution. I just feel like we shouldn't have needed to do that. But anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and hop over into the live portion of the video now, and let's check out what we've been doing this entire time. All right, guys, we are live now over in Cedar Flags, and we are staring at the stage that the whole episode was about. Actually, I don't even think I noticed that these guys are animatronics, so there you go. We got some animatronics in there. Like I said, I really didn't want to like design a whole stage animatronic set or show or whatever you want to call it. I didn't want to do that, but if you guys wanted to, you could download the save file when I get it up there and do something like that on your own. And of course, if you do something in the park like that, I always encourage you to share it with me over on my Discord. Link to that, as always, is in the description. I love seeing what you guys come up with. But yeah, let's back out here and let's go over here. This is something that we need to talk about a little bit. Also, if you notice any drastic improvement in game performance, oh, look how smooth the boats are. Look how smooth the trains are. I'm getting way more than 10 FPS, and this computer is a beast now, and I am so happy that we finally can play this game and do this, and it's not like a complete, mess. But this is the build over here that we lost the footage for, and I believe, like I said, fingers crossed, this is the only footage that we lost throughout the entire hiatus. After I lost this, I really got on my game to try to keep all of the other stuff before it expired. But yes, this boat ride quite simply goes around the lake. Now, we did add a couple little islands here or there, so we gave the boaters a little bit of an experience, something a little bit more to enjoy as they were floating through here. So yeah, the building over here was nothing too crazy, nothing too special. It was a little awkward for the most part because we weren't using like the full tall, wall height, so we kind of built everything down a little bit, which was a little bit of a challenge, but it's more realistic, as you can see by this guy standing here. It's a little bit more realistic in height over here. The pier that goes out here is interesting. I love the fact that they gave us the props of the actual boats on the ride. This is one thing I've been asking for this forever. For roller coasters, I really wish we could have like the actual cars and then be able to put those on the transfer tracks and like have them staged and stuff. Oh, it'd be so awesome. Frontier, please, let's make that happen. This, like I said, pretty much just a really simple build over here. I love this over here. It's a little dry dock type area. I don't necessarily think you'd even call this a dry dock because it just hoists the boat up. In theory, our mechanics could then go around and kind of, work on it however they need to do. But yes, this build, as disappointed as I am not having the footage for this and not being able to put an episode to this, it really wasn't a like substantial part of the park. It's not like we lost a roller coaster build. But let's talk a little bit about the stage here. This is interesting. Like I said, I really don't know if anybody will be walking down through here at all ever. But it is nice that there are different ways to get down into here. There's not like a ticket booth or anything. This is a free show for anybody in the park. You already paid your ticket to get in the park. Why am I going to charge you again? Well, some parks may do that, but not us. No, we are the good guys. The ramps down here, always I try to make everything kind of wheelchair accessible in some capacity. So the ramps down here, even though they may be a little steeper than regulation, and my live chat always gets on me about the proper regulatory height of the ramps, but it may not be proper, but at least it would be doable. And then of course we have the stairs up the middle of this as well. So the stage area itself is pretty interesting. Like I said, it all kind of spawned off of finding that giant boat and then plopping that down and being like, you know what, they would do a show over on that. So it is interesting. You can see the doors that we have around here. And then if we go in toward the back, I kind of tried to take into account all of this. So the stage itself, I guess the like backstage, the actors would have to come down over here and kind of get onto the stage over here. There's not like a dressing room or anything. I guess maybe you could think it's in the boat. I really didn't do any of that, but you can get onto the stage here, and then all of these doors I've doubled up and they can walk around. So a lot of the ladders back here, a lot of that kind of stuff are put back here on purpose because I felt like the actors would want to be able to be, you know, if the director says we need an actor to come up here, but like enter, well, you know, he could exit over here and then kind of sneak around back here and then hop up here and climb this rope or whatever they need to do. So that is all kind of done on purpose back here, but also like from a distance, you kind of don't even realize that it's a stage in a sense. It kind of like I said, it kind of looks like a shipyard, like we're actually building this boat or something with all the scaffolding and everything back here. So it works in multiple different ways, and that is not on purpose. It wasn't really by design. It just kind of happened to be like that. So that is pretty much it. That I think is pretty much it for this episode. What we're doing next is, oh man, the park looks so bare compared to where we are in future, you know, builds. Like I said, I've built out a lot of this stuff already, so I'm very excited to bring you guys along once again on this journey. We're gonna be, I think, working on this little chunk of land here in the next episode. We may be working over here. I don't remember which one came first. I'm pretty sure it's this one, but you'll see that in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for sticking with the channel all this time. I'm really hoping you guys are happy that we're back. And like I said, I don't intend on taking another 9-month hiatus, but yeah, we'll be back at it. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.